Liberia's President George Weah has conceded defeat to opposition candidate Joseph Boakai after a tight runoff election, where a former soccer star called Boakai after the country's National Election Commission NEC released provisional results on Friday. Now, the former vice president, a 78-year-old, won 51% of the votes, the country's electoral commission said. Of course, joining me at this time to shed more light on this is Professor Adam M. Kyne, international human rights advocate. And of course, he is joining in from Monrovia, Liberia. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I hope you're hearing me.
Yes, we can hear you well, Adam. Let's, of course, get straight to it. Now, the just concluded presidential elections seem to reflect the will of the people and set a new precedent for both Liberia and Africa with, of course, the incumbent congratulating the winner. How do you react to this?
Well, I think it is indeed a very great transition for Liberia. I think it was the expectation of all of the Liberian that we experience such smooth transition, because I think Liberia, being the oldest republic, should demonstrate some restraint and foster and lead democracy in Africa. So seeing this, I think it portrayed our level of maturity relative to our democracy after the Civil War. Now, so we are all excited about it.
All right. But was it something you saw coming? I mean, even before the polls started? Because, I mean, the current president has had issues when it comes to accountability and, of course, not keeping to promises. According to some reports, was it an outcome that you sort of predicted, I mean, looking at the political landscape?
Well, we all did not predict that, but I think everybody was on the edge. So, but having this occurred, I think it was not a surprise, but also a surprise. But I think we are all excited that it went in the direction in which it transpired. But again, the expectation was that many of us were a little bit on the edge, not knowing what would have happened because of the political campaign, a lot of tension that have occurred within the political campaign. And so that was the experiences that we had.
All right, now let's talk about the process itself. Will you say this happened without glitches? Would you say the electoral process was smooth without issues of maybe delayed voting and, of course, apathy and all of that? How would you describe the process? Was it entirely glitch-free?
Well, we would, in every election, there would not be there were some iota of some experiences that were rectified as we went down the road in the election. So there's nothing that's perfect. Of course, there were some glitches, but we were able to overcome that, but it wasn't major to cause any disruption within the experience. So it was something very good.
Now let's look at the person of the incoming president, who of course was the former vice president of the country. His pedigree in terms of experience and the ability to also meet the current needs of Liberians. We know that the economy is there. There's also the issue of security. There's the issue of welfare and all of that. Now, looking at the background, the political background of the incoming president right now, do you think he has what it takes, the capacity to actually deliver, for Liberians?
Well, I would submit to you that no one was born with the pedigree relative to be president. But what really happened is that the amount of people you surround yourself with and your level of education will definitely drive you in the direction in which you want. So I think with his experience and education, I think that demonstrates that, and if he will surround himself with the right folk, then of course, and stand for what he submitted or presented to us, then obviously then the country will go in the right direction in which he desired. So it is his will, it is his consistency, dedication, that will all bring out a better result for Liberia. So again, I will always say no one was born to be president, but I think we all managed to train ourselves, went to good schools, got the necessary education and connection to move forward. And I think he demonstrated all of those qualities, and I show that we can do better in my perspective.
Now, I'm going to come to the problems or some of the issues currently Liberians are facing at the moment. One of it majorly has to do with infrastructural deficit in terms of good roads, of course, that would support trade and, of course, boost the economy. And another issue, again, has to do with poverty and, of course, want. Now, the incoming definitely has a big shoe to fill. There are myriads of problems, coming from the COVID-19 pandemic. For you, what areas do you think he should tackle, once he assumes office?
Well, I think the first area incoming president needs to tackle is the division within the country. I think these political seasons have created a great political divide amongst the Liberians. And so I think reconciling the entire country would be the first step forward. And I think after that, then his promise that he's going to audit the current government, I think should be the second that comes. I think there is a need that we set a precedent that after every electoral process or change of government, that there should be some level of accountability. So the government needs to be audited, as he indicated. So that will set a precedent, not only a precedent, but that will also be a governing factor that governs the rest of our political transition whenever we have elections. So I think that is key. Besides reconciliation, there should also be audit of the government to know how money was spent, to know how things went about within the country under George Weah. And then after that, then we can all progress towards the infrastructure development, education, healthcare, agriculture, and all of those that are needed. So those are the important things that I think needs to be taken care of at the moment.
All right, I'm going to take you on the word you used. You said that one of his promises is to audit the current government. Does the incoming have the capacity to actually ensure that he follows through with that in terms of ensuring that, okay, after the audit is done, those found wanting are tried in court and probably thrown in prison, irrespective of their, political class? Do you think Joseph Boakai has that capacity to follow through on that?
For these 6 years, he has ran on that political construct that he's going to obviously persecute the current government. So we are hoping that he would do what he says he would do. So we are hoping that he does that. So the Liberian people, I think, would be disappointed if he doesn't do it, because most people have voted him because of that. They wanted to set a precedent. They wanted to make sure, and that is the beginning of actually attacking corruption. So if that is done, then it's a message to even his incoming cabinet that if you messed up, you're going to be audited. So I think it's very essential that these things be done, please.
Now, Liberia's had a history of a civil war in the past. How important was this election in ensuring the unity of the country?
Please repeat yourself. I didn't get it. Please repeat.
I said that Liberia, has an history of a civil war in the past. How important will you say this election was in uniting the country further?
Well, again, I think these elections demonstrated to us that we are not prepared to go back to that date. We, of course, is very essential. So I think what it does for us is that tell us that we are peaceful people and respect the democracy that is being experienced for almost 100+ years. And so, again, the Liberian people are not ready to go back to war. So that's why I think these elections were very significant and sent a great message to the rest of the world that we are going to retain who we are and not get into this.
All right. All right, now, one thing this election has actually done is introduced some sort of, what I call it, twist now to the dynamics of what we see, particularly when it comes to, African elections. We know that the closest we've seen a play out was what we saw in Nigeria when the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, actually did call the incoming back then, Muhammadu Buhari, and congratulated him, on the elections. We saw that play out with Weah and, of course, Joseph Boakai. Now, for you, are there takeaways, particularly from this election, that can serve as some sort of template for Africa and the rest of the world?
Well, I think the president demonstrated some level of maturity, which of course send a message out to all of the other African leaders who are maintaining power that when time reaches to get out, you get out, and you don't try to hold on to power or manipulate power. So I think Liberia demonstrated to the world that we are the crush of democracy in Africa. So I think that was the takeaway that we submitted, that when your turn to leave, you leave. And that no one, and I think one of the things I took away from this election is that if you don't do well in Liberia going forward, then we're going to kick you out. So that was the kind of message that we sent. So the next president that comes will understand that if you don't do well, you just got one turn. So nobody is nobody has the right to claim 12-year or 2 terms if you're not doing well. So based upon your performances, so it will be merit.
Are you there, Adam?
Victoria, and not just, yes.
Okay, Adam, please go ahead. We lost you for a moment.
Take away I got from these elections.
Okay. All right, before I let you go, now, what lies ahead for the new administration?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We lost you for a moment, but you're back now. We can hear you. You were trying to establish the takeaways from this particular election. Would you like to land or do we proceed? Are you there, Adam? Okay, I guess we lost Adam there for a moment. Okay, Adam, are you there? I understand you're back.
Yeah, the internet services.
Okay, good. But it's great to have you back.
Yes, yes, I'm hearing you now.
So quickly, would you like to conclude on the takeaways from this election?
Yeah, like I said again, Liberia sent a message to the entire world that, or especially to the African country, that if you don't do well, you will be kicked out. That's 1. 2, it also sent a message to the rest of the African country that when your term is over, make sure you get out and not manipulate things, that no one was born to be president for 12 years or to rule as long as you want, that there is a democracy that is set in place, that the people decide what you do and whether you stay or not. And so I think that's the message that was sent out to the rest of the world and to the African country.
But do you think the institutions in Liberia, I'm talking about the judiciary right now, from, of course, you have the electoral body and all of that, are the institutions in Liberia strong enough to ensure, number 1, accountability, and also, well, I call it some sort of continuity in terms of administration and also governance?
Well, Liberia have always demonstrated to the world that we always want to be first in everything. We were the first in Africa to have our first female president, and now we seem to demonstrate that for the first time in West Africa to have a president with 1 term. So there's a possibility. So we have to show to the world that, I mean, people who have engaged in corruption be persecuted for what they have done. So I think if we will invest money into that, then that will take the country to the next level. But if we don't do it, then the next political leaders or cabinet minister that will be coming will do the same thing. So there must be a moment, and the moment is now, where we set the precedent that this is it. You can't do it, and you think you're just going to walk scot-free. And I think that we must foster that courage and also create funding to do that, because that will also help to bring funding into the country. If we are able to prosecute those who stole money, then we get money from that. So I think we have to spend money to get back the money that people have taken without accountability.
Let's talk about the political future of the country, Liberia, and also what lies ahead for the new leadership. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm hoping that whatever he said that he will do, that he will do it. I mean, he promised that he will first of all step down on corruption. He will persecute the current leadership. Not only that, but he will help to develop roads that will connect, not just community roads, but roads that will connect from one county to another, interstate highways. And agriculture is going to be prioritized. Education is going to be prioritized. So we are hoping that what he said that he will do, that he does it. So my hope is that at this time, I think Liberia, especially educated Liberian, those who are qualified, should lead the country, because what we did not see during Weah government was the fact that we did not see our best in areas that were very significant to run it. It was rather based on political interest and political connection. So we are hoping that when they come, they will find some of our best to run the country.
All right.
Put your best in area to lead things. You don't put your best in the back of the seat. Yeah, so that's what I look forward to the future.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Professor Kyne M. Adam, thank you once again for making our time to be on the program.